Welcome to Capacity Chat. It's good to be here in 2019, the second video of the new year. We're excited and compliments of the season to everybody out there. Ziggy, good to have you back and welcome to Capacity Chat. New year.
It's nice to be here again this year.
Yeah, you look like somebody who's ready for the new year.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
And we started way back with self-esteem, and today we're moving to happiness. And it's defined as how an individual subjectively and perceives their life. It's a subjective measure by the individual, and that's how positive psychology theorists define happiness. Ziggy, what is happiness? I know they define it, but what is it really?
Yeah. So it's actually it is how I look at my life and judge whether it is actually a life with whether I've got pleasure there, okay? Whether my life means something, and whether I can engage with my life. And if I've got those three, I tend to be more happy about my life. And maybe it's worth packing those out a little bit. So I think the main one that I would like to pack out is engagement, but let's start with pleasure, and then we'll work towards that. Okay, so pleasure is whether I have enjoyment in what I do, whether it gives me pleasure to be engaged with what I do. So what we're doing now is fun for us, so it gives us pleasure. And that is one of the legs that need to be there if we want to have happiness. So if we do what we do now and it's really not nice and we're not enjoying it, it's not going to give us pleasure or happiness.
So if there's no pleasure, then you're not going to achieve happiness.
No. So the next one is that meaning. Yeah. So is what I'm doing now meaningful?
On what scale are you saying is it meaningful? They talk about being subjective. So it's about my bias.
Yes.
Okay. It's what I perceive to be meaningful.
That is very important.
And what you perceive to be meaningful. What really is that?
So it is really got to do with, do I feel that what I'm doing has some kind of importance? It has got some kind of outcome or result that will be of memorable effect. But it is, you hit the nail on the head with what you just said. It's really subjective. It's really how I perceive it.
So there's no yardstick about your happiness and my happiness and his happiness and her happiness.
No.
It's different on how we perceive the meaning.
Yeah.
And engagement, I think this links to the big question. They talk about money talks.
Yes.
Engaging with your life, you need money to engage with your life, and money has been tagged to happiness a lot.
But but the reason people tag money to happiness is because it gives you, in some way, it gives you a little bit of a feeling of safety. So when we want to engage, for example, at a workplace, there are three elements that need to be there. There's psychological safety. In other words, do I feel safe? Can I speak to you about my personal things, or will I be kind of in trouble? If I drop something, is somebody going to immediately be on my back and kind of scold me or fire me or whatever? Do I feel safe to say what I want to say? Is the first leg in engagement. The second one is that there's once again meaningfulness, psychological meaningfulness. I think that comes in, and we spoke about meaning already. And then there's psychological availability. This is, do I feel that I can be available to the people around me? Do I feel that the others can be available to me? So if I've got those three, that I feel safe, I feel it's got meaning, and I feel that there is a support base, then I can engage
with my life,
with my surrounding.
So there is a lot that comes around into that engagement, and each is a different aspect that we can spend the whole day to talk about and unpack it. But what's important is for us to realize that Ziggy's happiness and Caleb's happiness aren't mutually intertwined. They're exclusive of each other. And I think the trend has been out there where people place certain things and attach them to happiness, saying if you don't have a house, if you don't have a career, and if you don't have healthy relationships, you're not happy. Of course, there's some fundamental aspects in those things, but some of these things tend to be attached to a lot of the material stuff. And I think it's important for people to take away that happiness has got nothing to do with the next person. It's what you perceive as meaningful and how you perceive as engagement and what brings you pleasure in terms of your life. And I think that's important for people to take home on this Thursday morning. So thank you very much for joining us, Ziggy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, especially fun. With a nice hot cup of coffee. Always remember that we build capacity you can trust. It's Capacity Chat. Thank you for joining us.